So we talk about working for a 9 to 5, right? You got to get up every morning. We set your alarm at a certain time. You got to be there. You got to clock in. You got to sit at your desk, and you got to do some work, right? At such and such time, we'll take your break, lunchtime, such and such time. But when you're an entrepreneur, man, how important is being disciplined in business? Because the day can get up and get away from
There's nobody but you. There's nobody. There is no manager, looking to say, "Oh, have you met these deadlines?" or things like that. Like most of us became entrepreneurs or business owners, so that way we could have flexibility in our schedule with the underlying thought that I know I'm going to get this done, but I'd like to have the flexibility to choose when it's going to get done, as long as it happens before said deadline. So if I have to go to one of my kids' events, you know, hey, Mr. Mrs. Client, I have something that came up with my kids. Hey, let's go reschedule this situation. Unless it's one of those deadline where it's like, all right, this just has to be done and we've already made a promise. But you we got into this space a lot of
Yeah.
times so that way you have the freedom, but that still comes along with, even though I have the freedom to choose when it's gonna get done,
The freedom to not do it too.
you have the freedom not to do it. But if I want to be successful, which I'm only, if I ever speak, it's only from the mindset of what is it going to take to be successful and get the
So
desired results.
yeah,
You're going to have to get it done.
man. So when I first heard this, something came up in my spirit that discipline is love. And I think that it's so important to be disciplined in your business and do see discipline as love, because the things you love is the things you care about.
Yeah.
And well, the things you love should be the things you care about. And so when you take that for me, when I take that approach and I kind of look at discipline as a love, you know, then it's a relationship that I have a responsibility to and for. And so I think that being disciplined in whatever the acts are in your business is a show of, you know, your relationship to the business.
And I like Johnny's point. You have to find your balance because there's a million books and there's a million things, but if that's not how your life is set up or your obligations and whatnot, I think the biggest thing out of that is finding what works for you, the
Mm-hmm.
discipline for you, because the discipline for somebody else may not be your discipline. You
Mm-hmm.
may like, oh well, you got to do this, wake up at this time, do this, and that may not jive with you. You may be more
Mm-hmm.
productive at night depending on the business that you pick, or you may be productive in the morning or during the day. I think the important takeaway here is definitely exploring options,
Mm-hmm.
but at the end of the day you got to find some kind of discipline.
Mm-hmm.
I had someone, a former associate, tell me, and this always stick with me, is that in his opinion, the measure of how successful or whether he would do business with somebody is their ability to set a schedule and stick to it.
And stick to it.
If you can
Mm-hmm.
set a schedule and say, all right, whether it's time blocking, whether it's just you write it down on a napkin, you got it on your app in your phone and an alarm or whatever the case is, if you can set a schedule and say, I have these tasks to get done, and you get done with them, and this is on a consistent basis, well, then you have what looks and smells like discipline.
Mm-hmm.
And
I
that's
like
the only way that goals are achieved, that success is met, is by this still ties into the work ethic. So I don't mean to beat a dead horse or but at the same time,
beat it.
you have to know what needs to be done, the business
Mm-hmm.
acumen, as Sheila stated. You have to know what needs to be done. You have to do it, and then you also have to do it even when you don't feel like doing it.
Amen.
Mm-hmm. And